Hello and welcome to another episode of PsycKicks. My name is Liv, and today we're going to be talking about spirit guides. If you guys are new to the podcast, welcome. This is the podcast where we talk about all things spiritual, metaphysical, paranormal, and in between as your sidekick to all things metaphysical. Em and I did a spirit guide podcast a long time ago when we first started PsycKicks. However, I feel that we should revisit the topic and, talk a little bit more about the things that I have learned since then, because it's been 3.5, 4 years, something like that now. I know we started this in 2020, but it was like the end of the year, right before 2020, maybe. I don't remember. I just remember filming the Zodiac video. If you guys want to check that out, maybe I'll put a link to that video in the description below if you're listening on the PsycKicks Extras YouTube channel, or down in the show notes if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast platform you listen to. Because we literally went to my dad's house and made this ridiculous thing, and it's one of my other favorite videos, honestly, that we've ever made, and it's nostalgic and fabulous. So if you want to watch a trash fire of a bad sitcom with only 2 girls in one house, it was really silly. Anyways, it's been a while, so that is why I want to talk about spirit guides. And people have been asking me questions about spirit guides, how to connect with them, and if they have any spirit guides, what spirit guides are, etc., etc. And, I've learned more since doing professional readings and talking to people's spirit guides in private readings and live readings, just readings in general, that I want to share the things that I've learned and my new perspectives about how to connect with them too, because for the longest time, we talked about signs and symbols as a way to connect with spirit guides, but everyone's different. Sometimes that doesn't work, and maybe you're a little more advanced or not advanced when it comes to your spiritual journey, right now, and where you're just at in life. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I wrote notes as a flow for how I want to structure this, and we'll see how it goes. But I just kept adding more and more things and other stuff, and now it just kind of looks like a shit show of a piece of paper that I tried to cram too many things on, because my brain was like, we're not going to use another piece of paper, we're just going to use one. And maybe I should have written on another page, but we'll see how it goes. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast, which is going to be about your spirit guides and how to communicate with them, etc., I'm going to talk about myself, because people like my life updates, so that's how it's going to go. If you don't want to hear about this, there will be chapters if you're on the YouTube PsycKicks Extras channel, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, whatever. There will be chapters, and it will say Liv's Life Update with a timestamp. If you don't want to listen to this, go to the next timestamp. So that's cool. You have the power. It's in your hands. Anyways, I wanted to talk about stuff that I've been learning, because I have been trying to actively choose to live my life in a glass half full mindset. And if that's not where you're at today, that's fine. I'm not saying being a psychic medium, one of the things I learned is when I talk to people during private readings, there are things that souls and spirits will say through me, because I'm a medium. That's what I do. I'm the medium between the spiritual and the physical. And sometimes not sometimes, all the times, spirit will have me say things to the sitter, you, the person that's listening, the person that made the reading with me, whatever you want to identify as or not. They will have me say things to you guys that seem so freaking like I can do these things, just so spiritually enlightening and fabulous, that I feel like it could give the perception that I live my life that way and that it's just easy breezy, beautiful spirituality. And it is not. And that is one of the things I feel like I want to clarify before we keep going further with this, of me saying I live my life in a glass half full mind frame. Not every day. Actually, today is very, very hard for me to do that. Extremely hard. To the point where when I was sitting down to sort of coagulate my thoughts, because I feel like that's a good word to use today about how I feel with my inner dialogue and monologue, as I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to do a life update, but what do I want to talk about? And it was very, very hard for me to try and come up with things that are glass half full, Because today I just have a grumpy face. I got a headache. I've been trying to like eat and take my vitamins and drink water, but I'm also just drinking a lot of coffee. And at one point this morning, I was like, maybe I need to stop drinking coffee and I just need to have some water and chill the frick out. So I just want you to know that even though I'm talking about these things, I'm just not this person that walks around and is like, every day is glass half full. Everything's perfect. No, I'm consciously trying really, really hard to choose that mindset so that hopefully as time goes on, it becomes easier. Your mindset is a muscle, just like everything else in the world, I would say, or in your body, something that you can control. Your mindset is also a muscle. And if you train it, it is going to suck a lot. And it's going to be hard, and you're going to be tired, and you're going to be sore, and you're going to wake up every morning and go, screw this. I don't want to do this today. I'm going to skip, leg day, proverbially speaking. But, you make the choice to do it even if you don't want to, and even if it hurts, and even if you're tired. And that is one of the days that I'm struggling with. So I was like, what am I going to talk about today in my life update that could be glass half full? And this is what I came up with. Asking for help. Guys, I don't know if you know this. For everybody that's a parent out there, you might know how it is. But when you have a baby, you just acquire things everywhere. You just acquire things. And I'm not saying if you're expecting a child and you've never had one yet to not make a baby registry. You should obviously make a baby registry because it'll help you plan out and understand things and learn things that are new to you because you've never had a kid before. But you will also, having a child has changed my Muladhara chakra in a different way, I would say. I struggle with my Muladhara chakra, I think, not only because of epigenetically where my family has come from with the depression and being immigrants, things like that. I think that's one of the reasons my Muladhara, and if you guys don't know what your Muladhara chakra is, it's your root chakra. I have problems with food rationing, even though I don't necessarily have any logical or physical reasons to need to do that. So I like to be oh, do I really need to get rid of this thing? Should I eat all of my dinner now, or should I make sure that there's leftovers for tomorrow because we might need that type of thing? That's my thing. But having a child has been helping my Muladhara chakra, but also in a very different way. So you just acquire things. People are like, hey, you just had a baby and I had a baby 2 years ago. Do you want this, and that? I have a whole entire thing of clothes that your baby could have. Do you want this? And you're like, yeah, of course. But then you're up to your eyeballs in things. And then you're like, I got too many things. I need to get rid of some of these things. And that is the thing that I asked for help with. It wasn't the baby things yet. It was the fact that I rearranged the bedroom in our house because I've been feeling with my ADHD brain that there needs to be a change in the feng shui of my home because, the stuff that I had rearranged in a certain way represents a time in my life when things were different. And now I'm like, the energy's changing. I need to move the things in my house to represent the change in energy and just sway into it. So I rearranged my bedroom, and my husband and I have both gone through baby weight. Guys, at one point, when I got pregnant, I was probably 150, 160 pounds because I gained a little bit of weight to try and get pregnant too. And that was just my own personal decision because I thought I was too thin. I was like, if I'm too thin, I won't be able to have a baby. So I made lifestyle changes, gained a little bit of weight. By the time Oak was born, I was 220 pounds. And I was dressing like Adam Sandler when he's going on a grocery run for literally 6 out of the 10 months that I was pregnant. And since then, my weight has changed. It's been almost 10 months since Oak was born. And now I'm down to 170, 175 pounds, And all of the stuff that I had pre-pregnancy doesn't fit because I'm a little bit too big for it. But everything that I had, the few garments that I did purchase when I was pregnant, because I was like, I'm only going to be pregnant for a little while. I don't need to purchase a lot of clothes, are too big for me. And then my lovely neighbor gave me a whole bunch of clothes. So I guess I didn't even think about it this way. I guess I did acquire a lot of things for myself with having the baby too. And my neighbor just, God love her. She's just a person that I did not know I needed in my life. And now I do. And we've gotten very, very close, and it's fabulous. It's really nice having someone that has kids that you can just bring your kids over and all of your kids can play and you guys can hang out as adults with your kids. It's so therapeutic and so healing. I just love it. But she gave me a lot of clothes. She gave my husband a lot of clothes because he gained the baby weight with me too. And now he's also losing the baby weight with me too. We've been trying in little ways, not like diet regimen and working out together and all this other stuff, but in our own ways, both together and apart, to find our new bodies postpartum. As silly as that sounds, since he's my husband, he's not like a seahorse or something, but it does. It affects everybody when you're pregnant, your husband, you know, stuff like that. So we had a lot of clothes and I went through a lot of things that I was like, I will never use this. Does it bring me joy? No. Can someone else use it? And will it probably bring them joy? Just like it brought me joy at some point in life. Yes. And I made a whole bunch of boxes and bags to take to Goodwill and things like that. But I've never had this many clothes in my life, honestly. And I think I talked about this in a Patreon update about how my neighbor giving me clothes was something that was extremely healing for me, because I'm one of the people as a girl that doesn't like shopping. I feel like every time I go shopping and I try to put something on, it just never fits right. And I thought it was going to be so cute. And then I just get discouraged and upset, yada, yada, yada. But when my neighbor just gave me boxes and boxes of clothes that no longer fit her because she fucking beat cancer. That is why she's getting rid of all of the clothes that she had. She also gained a lot of weight because she was on like steroids and things like that from her cancer, but she beat it. And now she's like living her best life, being easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. And that's why I got all of her clothes, because, you know, she's also in a new phase. And I just think it's really beautiful that we're going through these transformations together of self in different ways, but you know, it's cool. Growth, change, it's interesting. But with all of the clothes being everywhere and me redoing my room, that just turned into an absolute shit show. It looked like a laundry monster threw up in my room and then changed all of the furniture too, and then just re-threw up all the clothes and things everywhere as well. And for like 3 months, I've been shuffling around the madness. You know, like when you do laundry and then you don't just put it away, you just have a clean pile of clothes on the floor. That's what my room's been like for 3 months. And I've just been shuffling it from my room back to my spare room where my office is. Because if you've had a reading with me recently and I'm like, please excuse the background, it's not professional and there's just clothes everywhere, that's why. You were a part of that. You experienced it. You saw it too. But finally, my neighbor's been like, listen, I really love organizing things. It is what brings my soul happiness. And if you need help, I will help you organize the madness that I gave you. And I was like, no, you have helped me too much. You've already given me all these clothes. I need to do this myself. I need to do this. I don't need help. I can do this because you've already done so much for me. And she's like, okay, well, if you need help, I'll be here. And I was like, great. 3 months later, I have not been able to do it. I've just had the biggest executive dysfunction about it. And I've done like little things here and there, but it's making me feel like I can't do anything else. Like I can't vacuum. I can't like get anything else in my house like dialed in, tuned up, you know, in the square away of just feeling like I got a jive of cleaning and I'm on top of everything. So yesterday I finally caved after 3 months of refusing help. And I was like, hey, Katie, I need help. She's like, I thought you'd never ask. I'm coming over. Do you want a drink from my house? So yesterday, for like 5 hours, we cleaned my room and got all of the clothes put away, everything organized, reorganized, and it literally is just like a breath of fresh air. And one of the things that I struggle with is, like I said, my Muladhara chakra and asking for help. I am just like the queen of giving help, but not asking for help. And I feel like that might be a stupid thing to say of like, I only help people, which I'm not perfect. Maybe it's a weird thing to say, but I do help people a lot, but I cannot help myself. I can help others, but not myself. So asking for help yesterday was a really big thing. And I just wanted to let you guys know that like, for her, it was really healing too. My friend Katie, she's like, this literally brings me so much joy. And she was telling me about how when she first became a first-time mom and a stay-at-home mom, because she worked before her and her husband got married, and then afterwards they made the decision to have her be at home because that is what worked for them. And she said, sometimes I would help out friends or friends of family that wanted to have like their house cleaning done. So when her and her husband had a car that she could go and drive with, she would take her son and they would go help friends of family or friends of friends clean their house. Like for a little bit of money, not a lot, or just if they needed help. And she's like, it brought me so much joy. And my son and I got to get so close together and like do fun things and get out of our house in a different way. And she's like, and it's just making me happy to be able to do this with you and your son. And I was like, stop, I'm going to cry. So it was very healing for both of us. And if you guys are looking for or really just need help with something, maybe this is your sign to be like, hey, I do need help with this thing. And it's just like one thing in your house might be what's stopping you from tackling everything else because you just feel like this is a mountain and I can't get over it. But once I get over this mountain, then everything else is just like smooth sailing. Do it. Ask for help. Have your friend come over, make a cup of coffee or a pot of coffee and just do the dishes or have them help you fold the laundry and put it away. That's it. And then everything else will feel so much better. Like this morning I woke up and Bradley helped watch Oak and we drank coffee together and I just cleaned and it felt so freaking good to clean the rest of my house now that I feel like this mountain is now just a tackled little molehill of what it was and all I needed to do. I feel like, how do I summarize this? The difference between a mountain and a molehill sometimes is just asking for help. And you can do that. So that is one thing that I wanted to talk about today. And then the other little blurb that I wanted to give you guys that the world has sort of been showing me is learning new things can be really fucking easy. And we just don't know it. Cause let me break it down. My son is almost 10 months old. His name is Oak. Yes, just like the tree, OAK, nothing fancy. And he is just developing his personality. And maybe I don't even want to say developing. It's more like his personality is just peeking out like the sun behind the clouds. And now that he's older and getting just into everything, I'm having so much fun learning who he is. And it's a trip and it's a treat all at the same time. So he is not walking, but he has this little walker that my neighbor, Katie, got for him. And he has a walker at his house too, or here that I bought him. It's like a little wooden truck. And it has the little handle that sticks up on the back that he can like hold so that he's standing up and then walk behind it. But my mom was over a couple weeks ago when he started doing that. And I thought that maybe the truck was rolling too fast and that he would just like fall like straight on his belly and like hit his chin and things like that. And I was like, oh no, we can't do this. So I ended up getting a screwdriver, taking off the back like handrail bar thingy on the truck. And I was like, he can just like bend over and push it. And then that'll add more weight to it and he won't go as fast, yada, yada, yada. Well, my husband took Oak over to Katie's and they were all hanging out with the kids and just having a good time. And she has noticed that he's been walking a lot. So she got this like plastic puppy dog play school one, I guess, that when he walks, it talks and the front of it he can like interact with and flip things around on. But I was doing readings and Brad took Oak over there with himself to hang out while I was doing readings. So I wasn't here when it happened. But they let him walk on the plastic thing by himself. I mean, obviously, everyone was watching him and making sure he was okay. But short story long, as my husband likes to say, the toy is now over at our house, and he's been walking with it. And, you know, it sings songs, and he just, in the morning, this is the only thing Oak wants to do. He wants to immediately go downstairs while I'm making my coffee and get up and start walking on his little puppy dog walker that the neighbor got him. And he is so excited about it. However, my son is also very, very stubborn. If anyone's into astrology, let me tell you what his big three are. He's a Virgo sun. He is a Gemini rising, I think, and a Sagittarius moon. That is my son. and he is opinionated, and he will tell you exactly what he feels when he's feeling it, and you will know why. But he also doesn't want help when he's going through these big emotions that he's been discovering and feeling now. And one of those big emotions is he loves walking with his puppy dog walker, but when he gets to the other side of the room, he wants to be able to turn it around. And his body doesn't know how to do it, even though he's thinking about it, of like yanking it so that he can turn in a circle and then go back the other direction. But he also doesn't want you to help him. So those are the big emotions that we've been going through. And I want to just tell you that after 3 days, he has now learned how to rock back a little bit and yank it in one direction, left or right, in order to turn his puppy dog walker around. Or what he'll do is he'll sit down on his butt, crawl over to the side of the walker, and then push it, and then get back up, and then go in the other direction. It took him 3 days. 3 days. And on day 1, it got so bad, and he would not let me help him, and he was so frustrated that he couldn't turn around and do it by himself that I had to walk him outside, tears streaming down his face, wailing, pushing against me. But then every time I'd put him down, he'd come crawling back and get even more upset that I actually put him down, to get him to calm himself because he was so frustrated that he couldn't do something. But it took him 3 days because no one put him against someone else or was like, you can't do this, or this is really hard. Like, he knew it was hard, but he was like, I'm still going to keep doing it. And he did. And it only took him 3 days. And I just I don't know. I thought that was really beautiful that he's like, screw this, I'm going to learn something new. And he did it on his own, really, mostly by himself. And yeah, I thought it was cool. He could probably learn a little bit about asking for help, but we're 9 months old. We're almost 10 months old. And we're just learning what emotions are and what feeling emotions are. And eventually, I'm sure as his mom, as he gets older, I will be able to take what I learned today, which is asking for help is okay. Maybe the difference between a mountain and a molehill is asking for help. But today, this week, and next week, and for however long he gets up until he's older, he's just feeling the emotions. And that's got to be a lot too. Could you imagine just only being hungry and tired, and then all of a sudden you're feeling happy, sadness, joy, anger, frustration? Dude, that's a lot. That was just this morning for me, and I'm not I don't even think I'm ready for it or even emotionally equipped to go through those things. But maybe eventually when he's older, I can think back on this podcast and be like, listen, maybe asking for help is a good thing, because that's one thing that he's going to have to learn soon, I guess. I don't know. But he also did a good job by himself, learning how to push his little puppy dog walker the other direction. So yeah, you guys can ask for help and it will be okay. And you can always learn something new, because the only person that you need to be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. You know? Day 1, Oak didn't know how to move the thing. Day 2, he learned how to push it a little bit in one way, and it was scary, and he would fall down on his butt because he would lose his balance trying to yank the puppy dog thing in one way so he could turn around. And then he figured out maybe sitting down and pushing it was easier, but now he doesn't fall down. He sits down whenever he wants to push it, or he just yanks it and he doesn't fall down on his butt. So yeah, learn something new. The only person that you have to compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. And today is a different day. With that being said, that is done with my live life update, and we're going to talk about spirit guides. You guys excited? I am. Let's get into it. Okay, so what are spirit guides? Not everybody knows this. What I have lovingly liked to dub spirit guides are the legal advisors to your soul contract. So whether you believe in reincarnation or just a single incarnation, like one trip around the sun, your soul, I guess, is given and is able to accept, as far as I understand, your life or soul contract. So the powers that be, God, creator, source, whatever you want to call them, is the thing or energy which creates and dictates your soul contract. They're like, listen, I talked to your higher self, and this is what you got to learn in this life. And then that soul contract of the things that outline what you're going to learn in this life is given to you by a higher spiritual beings maybe, or just the source creator themselves. And they're like, listen, you want to do this, or do you want to keep hanging out as an energetic being within spirit? And you're like, hey, I'm done hanging out in heaven. I would like to fuck around and find out and reincarnate and learn these lessons. It's going to be fun. But you got to do like the Avengers Assemble thing. That's your spirit guides. You're like, hey guys, I'm going to have an incarnation. And for the sake of this podcast, we're just going to talk about physical incarnations, because there are energetic incarnations too. If that's something you guys want to learn about, let me know in the comments below, or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave a review. Be like, that's what I want to talk about, energetic incarnations. And I will see what I can do about making a podcast about it. But for right now, we're just going to talk about physical incarnations, because I don't want to get too much into the soup that is the existing of energy. It gets a little weird. So you decide that you're going to have a physical incarnation, and you're like, assemble, and you grab your spirit guides. Your spirit guides are going to be people or energies, souls, energetic beings that you as a soul already know. You know them. You're homies with them. They're your friends from heaven, spirit source, whatever. And one of the things that I've more recently been understanding and realizing is they're not just like the souls that you pick, but they're actually people or beings that you've known in past lives. If that's something that you want to believe. That in my scope of understanding, I believe in past lives and reincarnation. So they're going to be souls or entities or energies that you have dealt with in a past life. So you've gone through things together, and they're going to be the ones that help you with certain portions of this life, because you've learned those things or aspects of them. And so have they, your spirit guides, in those past lives. So that's who your past lives are. And that's how you know them. You've always known them. They're not strangers, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Your soul knows them either from heaven or spirit, and or both, of having a past life and being in heaven or spirit together. Existing as energetic entities, if you will, because that's just what a soul is. It's an energetic essence. So you know them. You ask them. They are like they know your soul contract too, roughly. I don't think they know everything, which is interesting. I've never gotten this before. So let me backpedal. I told you guys in my life update that I was having a hard day. Today is one of the days that I'm choosing to say it's going to be a glass half full type of day, even though I feel like I have nothing in my cup to give. But I called one of my friends and I was like, listen, I feel like I can't even call you to do this because I just need to record the podcast anyways, but you are a wise soul and I need a pep talk. What is it that you can offer me? And I told them at the end of our conversation, I was like, I'm going to go talk to myself. And they were like, listen, you're not going to be talking to yourself in this podcast today, because you're actually going to have your spirit guides there. And I just thought that was adorable. I was like, fuck you. Don't tell me that bullshit. And they're like, listen, you're not going to be talking to yourself. Your spirit guides are going to be there and they're going to help you. And it's going to be great. There's like 8 of them, like sitting cross-legged in the room with you. And I was like, screw it. I don't even know which 8 they are, because I'm thinking about it. I feel like there's ones that I haven't thought about yet. Maybe when I get done a little bit, I'll talk more about the spirit guides that I think are in the room with me, energetically, spiritually, whatever you want to say. Because saying the 8 is funny, but they basically said, like, you're not going to be talking to yourself. Your spirit guides are there. They know you're going to be doing a spirit guide podcast. So good fucking luck. So anyways, they're making me feel like they don't actually know maybe everything to your soul contract. And that is something that is a new idea for me as of right now. And they just know that there are things that you're going to have to go through, and they're just going to be the ones there. So I already said, your spirit guides are past lives, people, things, beings that you've had past lives with, and they have helped you overcome certain things and learn certain things in those past lives. And that is the aspects that they're going to help you learn in this life. Because when you incarnate, you forget a lot of things. Some things translate, some things don't, because you're supposed to learn or get new perspectives about things. That's what reincarnation is all about, or incarnating. It's learning the difference between sympathy and empathy. So they're there to help you with the things that they've learned in those past lives and the things that you might have forgotten that you've learned, because you're going to learn a new aspect, a new perspective of the things that you might have learned in those past lives. So it's just like using knowledge that you know to apply to a different scenario in order to further your understanding of it. That is what they want me to say. So with that being said, a lot of people, when I have readings with them and they ask me about their spirit guides, they will ask me like, well, I don't feel like I have spirit guides because they're not giving me answers to things. I feel alone. First of all, I'm so sorry you feel that way. I feel like that a lot of the time too. And I'm a freaking medium. I talk to dead people. I'm supposed to be able to talk to my spirit guides. Everyone gives me this perception of that, I feel like people have this perception of me that I just talk to my spirit guides all the time and they just give me answers. That is not the case. I feel just as lost as you. I really do. I really, really, honestly, truly do. And it's not about me when I give readings. It's about you. And that's one of the things in my mediumship that just is. It's who I am as a medium. I'm there to help you, not necessarily me. So what I want to say to you, if you are feeling this way with your spirit guides, is your spirit guides are guides. They're not managers. They're not here to give you answers or tell you what to do. They're here to give you guidance. And given the fact that my spirit guides are telling me right now that they don't know what your soul contract is, that is probably true. They are like, okay, we're here. We're going to help you. We know that you've entered into this physical existence, this soul contract, but we're here to help you with the things that you might not remember, but you do know. And we're here to help you remember the things that you've learned before and apply it in these scenarios so that you can grow, so that you can become more of a well-rounded, beautiful soul, an enlightened aspect of consciousness, if you will, if you want to get real spiritual about it. So that's what they're here to do. They don't know the answers, but they're going to give you every tool that they can to help you. I mean, they're your partners in this group project called life. And when you pick partners in a group project, I'm going to tell you right now, it's just like picking people for a sports team. You're going to pick the people that you think are going to be able to help you when you really need help in all these different scenarios and circumstances. So that's what your soul did. Your soul picked the people that are going to be able to answer those questions, that are going to be able to give you the guidance that you need when problems arise. And that's your spirit guides, guys. So, yeah. All right. Now, one of the things that is trippy dippy whippy for me that has been a new idea that's been introduced to me is that and we're only going to talk about it a little bit because I don't know how much I feel about it since all of my past lives are here. Screw it. Gosh darn it. I hate this. This is so annoying to me. They're just making me say things because, like I said, the 8 spirit guides are in the room with me. What I want to talk about, the novel idea that was introduced to me, is that your spirit guides can also be your past lives. And I was going to say, I don't know how I feel about that. So for the time, I don't know how I feel about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this. Can your spirit guides be your past lives? Question mark, ... question mark. Ominous music. Because the answer that I'm getting right now is yes, but that is a new idea to me that is popping into my into my brain right now. And I haven't had time yet to explore it, but I feel like it could be very possible. One of the past lives that I feel very connected to, and I don't know very much about, is that of a woman. I always see her wearing like a calico tan, very simple, modest dress, but she has darker tanned skin and dark hair. She looks like she could be from South America, maybe during like I don't know. She's telling me no. So I'm not sure when or what period, but I feel like she was a woman who was like a midwife or a doula, more so like a midwife, because I think she practiced like herbal medicine or medicine in some form or capacity for women and people. I think she was a healer of sorts. And I have always felt very connected to this past life, but I feel like she might actually be one of my spirit guides because she's shaking her head to me. But I've always just ever thought of her as a past life. But I do see, when it comes to past lives too, your past lives are the pieces of souls, or not pieces of souls. Your past lives are the pieces that create your higher self. And your higher self is a larger sort of liminal being, I would say. So your past lives are different from the life that you are now, but they also create your higher self. Think of your past lives and your current life right now as being cells to the body of your higher self. So it is something that creates you, and you are a part of them. So it's just like there's separation, but there isn't, that type of thing. And don't try to think too hard on that. Just kind of accept it with your understanding, I guess, is a weird thing to say, but it's spirituality. So let it go. If it doesn't make sense right now, let it go. I've kind of just accepted that separation is an illusion. However, understanding the separation that is there is also a part of understanding and feeling at peace with things. So I don't know. I'm getting off topic. So let's keep going. Can your spirit guides be past lives? My new novel understanding is yes. Yes, they can. If I get more information on that, I will update you guys and let you know what I think about it. But you also let me know what you freaking think in the comments below, because that's a different one for me. All right. Your spirit guides are a part of you. See, and I think that's why my spirit guides, they're pushing me to understand and have this revelation that your past lives can be your spirit guides too, in aspects, not just people you've had past lives with, but your past lives themselves too. Because that would make sense. Like if you really need a more well-rounded understanding of, oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I just was asking why when I talk to people's spirit guides that I see the separation between their past lives and then spirit guides that they've had past lives with. So for example, if I sat down with you for a reading and you were like, can you tell me about my spirit guides? Which is a very common question that I will answer to the best of my ability. Why I only see spirit guides, but not necessarily past lives. And it's because we as people see them as separate, but also because your past lives are a part of you. But your spirit guides that have had past lives with you, they are the opposite side of the understanding that you're looking for. Because like your past lives are a part of you. Does that make sense? So you're not looking for something that you already know. You're looking for the complement or the opposite aspect, which is what your past life person or the person that you've had a past life with, i.e. now spirit guide, can give you. So that's why I see them as just your spirit guide, I see them as your spirit guide, and I don't just see your past life, because your past life is a part of you. Got it. And that goes into what I was just going to talk about. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is your spirit guides are a part of you. A lot of times I feel like in the metaphysical community, similar to past lives, certain practitioners of spiritual aspects or spirituality will be like, you need to learn about this specific past life and reconcile the things that you didn't learn in that life that are carrying over into this life. And it's like, listen, I don't know. It's just one of my pet peeves right now for some reason. I don't get it. It's just like your past lives are a part of you. They make up who you are. And there's nothing that you need to go back and learn from that life, because you're physically incarnating right now, right? You're here. You're listening to this. You are a soul. You are separate, but the same as those past lives. If you're separate and the same, the life that you're living right now, you're going to learn the things that you need to in this life right now with the things that you're doing that maybe you didn't learn in that past life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't think that you don't learn everything in a past life. You learn everything you're supposed to, and then you die, and then you incarnate because you're going to live a new life. You can't like go back in the past to try and fix something that you don't need fixed. The way that I see spirit guides and past lives synonymously when you're working with them is what I want to say. It's not always something that you need to do separately from yourself. So you have your conscious being, who you are right now in space and time, a physical existence, an incarnation. Your past lives and your spirit guides are like the subconscious part of your body functioning brain connection. I talk about brain functions. So one of them helps you understand and articulate conscious movement. So if you want to run, you have to think about running, right? You don't just run instinctually or like without thinking about it. Obviously, unless there's like a physical stimuli of like a bear's chasing you or something, you got to go get the ice cream truck. But you also have the brain functions that you don't have to think about, like breathing or digesting your food. Those aren't things that you have to think about because they are a part of you. They run on a different sort of subliminal frequency that's just happening, and it's going to keep happening as long as you're existing. Same thing with your spirit guides and your past lives. Those things, those informations, that stuff that you need to know from past lives and sometimes with your spirit guides are just always going to be happening. So when people ask me like, oh, I don't feel like I've been communicating with my spirit guides because they haven't been presenting to me physically in front of my face and they haven't been giving me the signs that I want them to give me. Well, it's just like digesting your food. You're not going to be like, my body's not digesting my food because I didn't tell it that it needs to make me burp right now to know that I'm digesting my food. No, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be happening, and it's always going to be running on in the background, even if you don't consciously see it or are aware of it, because that's not how it works. It's energy. They are a part of you. It's an essence. It's just something. It's like tabs running in the background, stuff like that. So, I just wanted to talk about that because if you're frustrated, it's hard to ask for communication of an energetic entity to communicate with you in a physical way because they're non-physical. So it's kind of like you're asking a lot of them, I would say, a lot out of them. It is like asking your body to like burp at certain times so that you know that it's digesting food. It's just not how it works. Just because you're not burping doesn't mean that you're not digesting food. Just because you're not screaming doesn't mean that air isn't getting into your lungs. You're just not having to think about it because it's happening. Anyways, let's move on to how you can communicate with your spirit guides. Given that, just knowing that your spirit guides are communicating to you and giving you help. They're guiding you. They're giving you guidance, even if you may not notice it, I think is a very healing and empowering thing too. So moving on to communication. Communication is going to be different for everybody. The communication that you form between yourself and your spirit guides is going to be different for everybody. If you need to hear it again, replay it the past 15 seconds. Because I feel like, again, in the metaphysical community, people give this portrayal of how communication should be, and it's going to be different for everyone. And I also want to point out that I'm using the word communication because communication is not speaking to. It's not speaking. Speaking is very different. Communicating happens in lots of different ways. There is interpretive dance that communicates things to a large group of people. What is it? Like the Hawaiian dances? I don't know them specifically by name, but their hand movements and feet movements, just the dance themselves, portray stories. That is a form of communication, but it's not speaking. And if you're not used to it and you don't know it, you might just not understand what's happening in the storyline at all. It's the same thing. So communication happens in lots of different ways, and it's going to be different for everybody. So there's going to be direct forms of communication and indirect forms of communication. And the way that you're going to be able to understand which happens for you is find a connection. And that goes into meditation. But again, all of these things are going to be unique and individualistic to you and your spirit guides, your team. So meditation comes in a lot of different forms. Meditation is not just sitting in a quiet room, clearing your mind and listening to repetitive music. If it is, fuck yeah, that's great for you. For me, that's not how it is. Think of meditation as anything that you can do or not do that allows your brain to get out of its own way. And when I mean your brain, I mean your ego, something that pushes your ego to the side and allows thoughts, feelings, images, and emotions to move through your consciousness in a way that doesn't stop itself. So one of the ways that I like to think about this is if you do want to sit in a quiet room and meditate, one of the ways in which meditation might work for you is instead of clearing your mind and trying to get all of the thoughts out of your head, let those thoughts come in. But when you think those thoughts, those problems, those ideas, whatever they may be, if you do not have a solution for them, let them go. And if it's something that doesn't serve you in the moment, let it go. If those are thoughts are, I need to do the dishes, go, okay, but right now I'm meditating and it is okay for me to hold space and time for myself in this moment. And those dishes are going to be there when I'm done. And it's okay to not do them and then let it go. If the next thought that comes in is, I have to pay my car payment and I didn't remember to auto enroll, or I need to put the payment on a different credit card, or whatever it is, change it to a different bank account. Be like, okay, that is something that I can solve in a little bit, but it doesn't serve me now, and let it go. Things like that. Just accept it, acknowledge it, and then let it go. Don't try to solve the problem. I feel like that is what meditation is. And as you practice to do that in a more quiet room, whatever, if you want to do it, like I said, in a more traditional sense of meditation, then go for it. Non-traditional forms of meditation, that can be working out. Working out can be very meditative for people, very meditative. It is just something that allows your conscious brain to take a step back, stop trying to drive everything, and let those ways in which spirit and your spirit guides can communicate with you through energy to come in. One of the ways in which, like, your spirit guides could talk to you is through music. But if you're at the gym and you're listening to music or a podcast or whatever, that's going to move your brain out of the way. And they're going to be like, all right, I'm going to make sure that they listen to this podcast because it's going to help them get the answers that they need from whatever questions it is that they've been asking us for guidance on. Things like that. So I think sometimes it's good to let your spirit guides use your physical environment around you in order to convey information. So if you guys have listened to the podcast for a long time, you know everyone has psychic abilities. And if you don't know, there's a knowledge bomb for you. You have psychic abilities. Just like how everyone is endowed to experience the 5 physical senses in capacities that are different for everyone. So seeing, touching, tasting, hearing, smelling things. You are also able to experience the 6 metaphysical senses similarly to your 5 physical senses. And again, it's going to be unique to everyone. They're going to experience those things a little bit differently. And if you are starting on your spiritual journey, you might not be as in tune with the energy around you. So getting just random thoughts or feelings or images or emotions that aren't tangible in the physical environment around you might be hard. That's okay. Everyone is at a different spot in their spiritual journey because that's just how the world works. But taking those physical things out of your environment could make it harder to communicate with your spirit guides because they're going to use those things. If you keep seeing like blue buttons, it's probably because your spirit guides are trying to get your attention for something that once you realize those blue buttons you keep seeing, they're going to be like, hey, this is why you keep seeing them. And they'll give you a more energetic inclination of what it is that they're trying to communicate with you. It is, again, it's communication. So Using things in your physical environment to receive information or form a basis of communication with your spirit guides is valid and super, super cool. For example, my spirit guides were making me hear that every little thing you do is magic. That is something that they've been working with me on, and the ways in which they have been driving that point home to me in my understanding of like embracing energy work and possibly more witchcrafty things. I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about that yet. But that's how they've been using the physical environment around me to communicate that message to me. And if I just sat in a quiet room with no music or no podcast or no anything, it would make it a little bit harder for them to drive that point home. So signs and symbols are cool. Having physical manifestations and again, like having me hear that song is a form of physical clairaudience, because sometimes people think clairaudience, which is clear hearing, is going to manifest as like you hearing me right now, but I'm the spirit guide in your voice type of thing. Like you're hearing something that's not coming from anywhere. Or when people are like, I hear ghosts, and they like hear an EVP or something. That is not always how clairaudience is going to manifest on your spiritual journey. Having your spirit guides play every little thing you do is magic, that is valid clairaudience. It is called physical clairaudience. And you can also have physical clairvoyance, which is noticing things in your surroundings. Angel numbers, guys, have you been seeing repeating numbers and angel numbers? Physical clairvoyance. That is a psychic thing that your spirit guides and the spirits around you are using to convey messages in a form of communication to you. So, that is, you have to find your connection to your spirit guides. If it's through meditation, great, but meditation is going to be different for everybody. If you enjoy grounding, going for a walk barefoot, that could be how you connect to your spirit guides. If you enjoy tidying up your house and like cleaning things a little bit here and there, even if you're just like, I'm going to clean one thing, like deep clean one thing, and it's like a windowsill, or you're going to wash the windows in your room, do that. That can be a form of meditation in which you can connect to your spirit guides and allow them to give you the information you need using one of your psychic senses or more, because they can use not just one, but a lot of them. But that is what you're going to have to do first, is find a form of communication and connection with them first. So connect with them, and then the communication will come. But you're going to find your connection with them differently. It's going to be different for everyone. Sometimes meditation is listening to music. Sometimes meditation is going for a walk or going swimming or sewing or crocheting or crafting or reading books or listening to music or journaling. Those are going to be the forms of meditation that create that connection to have a form of communication. Cool? Cool. Now, communicating is different for everybody. You can have direct and indirect. I feel like my communication with my spirit guides is more indirect most of the time, because I have just like, I don't want to be spiritually burned out. And I also want to create a cognitive, healthy balance between spirituality and physicality in my life. I don't want to be someone that becomes overwhelmed with spirituality or leans too heavily into it and loses balance in my life. So I create unconscious and conscious boundaries between my spirit guides and spirit themselves. So when it comes to communicating with my spirit guides, they will give me both direct and indirect answers. So at the beginning of this podcast, when I was talking about past lives and how I thought maybe possibly they could be spirit guides, and my past life stepped forward and was like, yes, they can. How I experienced that information was very direct, which is okay, because I was allowing it. I was like, I need an answer to this question and I feel ready to accept that information. Can you give it to me? And they're like, yes, you are ready to accept it. So here, we're going to give it to you in a very direct way. So the way that I saw that, I'm a very clairvoyant mental medium. I saw the person that I perceive to be my spirit guide, or my past life spirit guide. And I told you what they looked like: the long, dark hair, the calico dress, they're barefoot. The dress is just below their knees, not quite mid-length. And they have, it's a short sleeve dress, and she's not wearing shoes, and she has darker colored skin. And I'm very white and just a ginger, so it's very opposite from what I look like. And she has brown eyes. So I saw her clairvoyantly in my mind, shaking her head yes. And then clairsentiently, I got the feeling, or evocation of feeling, that it was a correct answer and that it was a very calm and sort of like peaceful feeling. So that is the way that I received that information, clairvoyantly and clairsentiently. That is a very direct way in which your spirit guides can communicate with you if you are there, and that's one of the ways that you use your clairs. But that can be different for a lot of people. If you're very clairaudient, you might get a direct yes in your head, whether that be in your own inner voice or monologue or in someone else's. It's all up to how you experience and allow spirit to interact with you, because at the end of the day, you can set boundaries. And I think the balance that you create with your spirituality and your physical existence is very important, and it helps create and tailor what your spiritual journey and existence will sort of be like in this world. So I think it's an important thing to think about. Now, when it comes to more indirect things is like, I don't know, just not having that physical of a thing. They want me to say how your spirit guides are a part of you when it comes to more indirect communication. They're always there. They're always giving you messages. They're always going to be there. This is funny. One of my spirit guides wants to give me this to say. When I went to school for biology, if you guys want to know, and if you knew and don't know, I have my bachelor's degree in biology. So I had what was it called? Microbiology teacher. He was from Russia. He was hilarious. It was a summer class, so he was always wearing like board shorts and flip-flops and some sort of like Metallica or zombie t-shirt. And he said one of the things on the first day of class that we were going to learn was either we're going to become germaphobes and carry like hand sanitizer in our pockets forever, or we're going to just like embrace the germness that is around and somehow survive the zombie apocalypse, because your immune system will become stronger if you don't become a germaphobe, I guess. I don't know, something like that. He was very funny. But he also said you're also going to learn that you truly are never alone. Because you have microbes on your skin, you have them in your intestines, just everywhere. So you truly are never alone. And one of my funny spirit guides, Gojo, would like me to point that out to you. So when we're talking about indirect communication too, there is just a communication of where your spirit guides are a part of you. You chose them to help guide you on this journey called life. And you just got to trust in the fact that they're going to be there for you no matter what. Even when you think they're not there, they're still there. You're never truly alone. So yeah. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about too is that you might not know who all your spirit guides are right now. So I said there are 8 in this room because my friend said that. But the way I like to, and how this was given to me by my spirit guides to understand this, is think of your life and your journey with your spirit guides as a book series, a trilogy, whatever you want. Percy Jackson, Immortal Instruments, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, those book trilogies. Think of your life as a book trilogy. Now, in your mind, or however you need to envision it, put it on a bookshelf. Step back. Look at it. There's a lot of volumes, right? There's a lot of different books. And in that book series, there's going to be like a main character, right? That main character is you. Those book series are also going to have supporting characters, the ones that help the main character through their journey on whatever it is that they're doing in all of the book series. So as that main character moves through one book and then to the next and the next and the next, all the way to the end, those supporting characters, your supporting characters, are going to be your spirit guides. they're going to change. They're going to be different. Some characters are going to become less important. They're going to go on side quests, and the main character is going to keep moving forward regardless of that, all the way to the end of the book series. And they're going to get new supporting characters. Old ones are going to stay in certain portions of the book because that's what they were supposed to help the main character with, etc., etc. However, when you step back and look at that book, that story that is your life on the shelf, technically, since, time happens all at the same time, it is happening, it isn't happening, and it's going to happen. Your spirit guides are all there, my guy, all at the same time. They're technically there all at once. So if you have spirit guides right now that you feel very, very close to, very, very syncopated with, there's going to be times that when you get to a new chapter in your life, pun intended, new spirit guides are going to come along. New supporting characters are going to come along because you're going to be facing new things in your book of life, and they're going to be there to help you. So if at this point in time you get a spirit guide reading, whether it's from me or anyone else, you can have new spirit guides that come down the road 6 months from now, a year, 2 weeks, 8 years, 20 years, 80 years, whatever. New ones that come down that the person that you're talking to isn't going to know about. But if you feel like one day you got a new spirit guide, let that take precedence. Things change. Life is not supposed to be stagnant. It's ever moving. It's evolving. There's seasons. There's changes. Embrace those changes. It's normal. It's supposed to happen. And you celebrate it. You reached a new chapter of your life in which another guide is here to help you grow, to help you understand, to help you, exist, to guide you. So that's something that I really wanted to talk about. The very last thing I want to talk about is more on like the communication aspect, because people have asked me, like, how do I communicate with my spirit guides? Okay, so you all know that they're present, even if it feels like they're not there. They're not there to give you answers. They're there to give you guidance. So don't be like, should I do this thing? And think that they're like the magic conch. They're not. They're going to be like, what have we helped you understand up until this point in time that will give you the tools, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, to solve this problem on your own? That is what spirit guides are supposed to do, my guys. And as frustrating as it is, that is the game. The game of life. So when we first made a first podcast, Em and I, we talked about signs and symbols. She was embarking on like the very beginnings of her spiritual journey, embracing spirituality, etc. And signs and symbols worked for her. For me, I would clairvoyantly see my guide, who was the only one that I knew at that time, my blue man dude, and he would give me clairsentient and clairvoyant communications of, yes, no, maybe so type of thing. Almost as if you were asking a mime for advice. Now, those signs and symbols is, and this could work for you if you're in that infancy or the beginning era of your spiritual journey of using physical things to create a basis of communication with your guides. So you could say, all right, I know that you're there, guides. I know you're there, even if it may not feel like it, because I'm not alone. I have chosen you. I know who you are, and you're here to help me. I need some help. Please give me this symbol for yes, or this symbol physically in my environment for no. And it is up to you to establish those symbols. Make them something that are not everyday things that you'll see all around you. Make them a little niche. Make them a little spicy, For example, be like, okay, if you want me to know that what I'm doing is good or that I'm moving in the right direction with a certain aspect in my life that I ask you about, show me, I don't know, Nacho Libre. And if I'm moving in the wrong direction or I'm doing something that maybe I shouldn't be focusing on or taking so much time up in my life, etc., show me butt cheeks. I don't know. Something like that. I don't think you guys should be seeing Nacho Libre and butt cheeks every day in your life, unless you're like a nurse or you like to watch Nacho Libre every day. So that is using signs or symbols to form a basis of communication. It works for some people. But if you're a little more advanced in your spiritual journey, here is something that I have started to learn. Or if you're more clairvoyant, you think you're clairvoyant, like mentally clairvoyant, you're able to see imagery or scenarios in your head in like a dream or daydream like state. And I don't want to say daydream like state. I would say like daydream like way, because that's how I perceive things. Sit down with yourself. Be like, okay, I feel like I have this spirit guide. And the first step is saying and knowing that you have spirit guides. Don't just be like, I don't know who they are, so I'm just going to give up because I need someone to tell me what they are. You don't need anyone to tell you who your spirit guides are. Listen to me. I'm the captain now, and I'm telling you that you don't need anyone to tell you who your spirit guides are. Sit down with yourself. If you need a piece of paper because that helps you, get a piece of paper, write it down, and just ask. Be like, I know I have spirit guides. I know that I chose you to be on this journey with me, and I know that we maybe had some past lives together. What information can you give me? The things that pop into your head are valid. And even if they're not, it's freaking spirituality, my guy. You're literally trying to channel energy, something that's non-physical, something that's not tangible in front of you right now, like whatever it is that's in front of you, like a cup of coffee, a desk, the carpet, a chair. It's not tangible. So ask your spirit guides, who are you? What is it that you want me to know about yourself? Get to know them. Interview them like a friend. It's like a blind date. Remember that old TV show where someone would have like 3 people behind a wall, and then one person would be like the contestant, and they would have to ask them questions, and then the 3 people behind the wall would have to answer those questions? Play that game with your spirit guides, guys. Be like, what is your favorite color? And see what color they show you. Use that to develop an idea for the character that is your spirit guide, because you don't know what that person looks like, nor do we really know, or will we know. But develop a character, traits for them. How does their personality feel to you? Do they feel funny? Do they feel persnickety? Do they feel calming? Do they feel like they'd be a bookworm? Do they feel like they'd be a valley girl? Do they like to gossip? What things would they help you with? Do you think they'll help you with relationships or your job or your dreams? Whatever. Write the answers that you get to those questions that pop into your head, however they come, whether it be an emotion, a word, a sound, a feeling, a color. Write it down. And be like, cool. Now given that information, make a character, make an avatar, make an alias, if you want to say it that way, an alias of what you think your spirit guide would look like to you. They don't all have to look like people. My spirit guides, for whatever reason, don't always look like people. They look like things or entities or beings or characters, I would say. And make an imaginary, quote unquote, friend representation of your spirit guide. Now, after doing this, when you want to communicate with them, envision that character that you've made for your spirit guide and ask them a question and see in what way they respond. Do they give you a head shake, a nod, a thumbs up? Do they make you feel happy or sad, or like the feeling of yes or no? Do they say something in your head? Is it in your voice? Is it in a voice that you would think is theirs? That is how I communicate with my spirit guides. I communicate with them like imaginary friends, especially if I'm going to like single one out. I'll be like, hey, yo, blue man dude, what do you think about this thing? And he will give me a sign or symbol. Well, he doesn't give me a sign or symbol. He communicates with me like a mime. So he looks like one of the men from the Blue Man Group with like the whole blue face and the black turtleneck. And I only ever see him from the shoulders up. And he will use his big old white eyebrow expression to give me an answer of some sort of guidance. And then I'll get a physical feeling or a clairsentient emotion of positive or negative energy, I would say, or emotion. So do that with your spirit guides. If you're very clairvoyant, go for it. However, something else that I wanted to bring out to people is people that are very clairaudient, something that you hear too. Someone that would be very receptive to sounds or listening to things. A way that you could communicate with your spirit guides is pretend you're writing letters to your friends. Write a letter outlining the things that you've done today and the things that have crossed your mind, the thoughts that you've had, whether they be inspirational, spiritual, enlightening, deep, reflective, whatever. Or if it's just like, hey, I went to the store today and I ate a spicy food and I got like a new ramen bowl that I've never tried before, and this is what I felt about it. What do you think about it? Have you tried it before? Pretend like you're writing a letter to your friend about your day and the things that you think about, And the responses that you get in your head, in your own inner monologue or dialogue, is probably your spirit guides talking back. Maybe. So when it comes to, you're probably going to ask me like, how do I know if I'm getting validation? If the imaginary friend that I feel like I'm envisioning in my head, or the person that I'm writing letters to and I feel like I'm getting responses from, how do I know if that's real? You don't. I'm so sorry. The only way you're going to know if it's real is if you end up getting physical confirmation or validation. So for example, if I ask my spirit guides a question and I feel like they give me an answer in some way, shape, or form based on the question that I'm asking, the only way I will ever know if it was real and if I was actually talking to my spirit guides is if I get some sort of physical validation, either from one of my real friends in the real world telling me something unprompted, like an answer to something that answers the question I was talking about. And I'm like, okay, spirit guides, you already gave me the answer, but the fact that you're physically making my friend bring this up unprompted and they're just spewing me the answer to the question that I've been asking and I didn't even ask them. Thank you for the validation that I'm not crazy. I was listening to you. I hear you. Thank you for giving me that answer and then making sure I got the validation to that answer too. I appreciate it. Noted. Cool beans, guys. That is the way that you're going to get validation. And sometimes it takes time because they'll give you an answer to something that isn't going to come to fruition for however long. But eventually you will get the confirmation. And if you don't, that's okay. Because what did you do? You were just asking for a question. Don't immediately act upon it. That's kind of like, I would not advise that. Because it is spirituality. You're supposed to have guidance. If you're going to make a decision, let it be your own decision that you feel like you worked through. Again, spirit guides are here to give you guidance, not the answers. But if it works out, probably was supposed to work out for a reason. And if it didn't, that's fine. That's just life. So, do you guys have more questions? If you do, put them in the comments below, depending on where you're listening, or leave a review. That is what I have to say about spirit guides. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say that I talked to my friend before I got on this, because I told you guys I wasn't feeling very well. And honestly, I'm feeling a lot better after talking not just to myself, but to my spirit guides and all of you lovely people listening too. But I was, like I said, I was sad. But one of the things that they said to me, and it's one of the things that I wanted to share to you guys today too, was I've been learning more about deity work and like going out and having more like spiritual guides, not spirit guides, but deities and other spiritual entities sort of help me work through stuff and help me understand things more in like an outward thing. And then connecting more with my spirit guides too. That's something that I've been consciously trying to do, but in different ways, because it's a new avenue of navigation for me with my own spirituality, of incorporating them more in a conscious way, and taking time to really take time to do that, connect with them more consciously and physically and just in the moment, in the present, I would say, and not so much just as them as like a tab running in my mind in the background. And what my friend said was, go out, train with the deities. They're going to help you strengthen parts of you that are needing to be strengthened right now. Like some days it's leg day, some days it's arm day. Whatever analogy I can give you, the deities and those spiritual guides are going to be the ones that help you with those things. And those are going to change. Your teachers, those teachers are going to change. The deities that you feel drawn to right now and that your energy is in alignment with is going to change. And that's normal because you're going to go through different things in your life. Just like the book, the character in the book story, you are the main character energy, my guy. And those deities that align in your life are going to change. Those teachers, the ones that you spar with, the ones that are like, you need to get your sword up. You need to learn how to parry this blow. And and go study this book. You need to learn this sort of information, because when you get to this part of the riddle, this information from the book that you read that I told you to read is going to give you the answer that the troll under the bridge needs. Those are the deities, and those are going to change because you're going to get stronger in different ways, and new people are going to come in, new energies, new deities, new spiritual guides are going to help you come in and train you and move you along in this life to get better, you know? But your spirit guides, you get to come home to your spirit guides every day. They ain't never going to leave you. They're never going to change. They're always there. And they're the ones that are going to help you with that inner reflection, that sense of self. And just like the fact that my friend was like, go out and train with the deities, but just know that every time you come home, you're coming home to your spirit guides. That home is you. And I was like, mic drop. So, you know, go out, go train, go do cool things, but your spirit guides are always going to be there. They're always going to be home for you because they're a part of you and you are the home. So yeah. If you like this podcast, let me know in the comments below. Leave your reflections, the things you learned, the things that you're excited to do. If you feel like your cup is half full today, and if you feel like it's not, how you're going to change that viewpoint and maybe be like, I'm going to put a little bit of Sprite in it, and whatever that might be for you during the day. I feel like making this podcast was adding a little bit to my glass half full type of day. So thank you all for being here to listen. And yeah, let me know what you think. Rate on Apple Podcasts. That really helps the podcast out. And on Spotify, I think you can rate on Spotify now. If you're interested in making a reading with me, please do so. I just have psychic medium readings and then like pet psychic plant house readings. But if you have questions about like spiritual things, or you just want to talk to someone about the spiritual stuff that is going on in your life, like you have questions or you want to know more about your spirit guides, or just like get insight from someone like me. I don't know. I don't think I'm that cool, but people have asked me like, do you offer things where you can just like talk to you about spiritual things and not necessarily like want to talk to dead people? And I've said no, but if that's something you're interested in, just book a psychic medium reading with me and then put it in the comments, because there'll be a comment box on there when you book your reading, and you can just be like, this is what I want to talk about. Because as a medium, I'm going to get information from past loved ones or spirit guides. I just don't pull information out of the ether. It has to come from somewhere. So a psychic medium reading, if you have questions about these types of things, spirituality, your spiritual journey, etc., gods, deities, spirit guides, and past loved ones are all going to come forward in your psychic medium reading to answer those questions. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for being here to talk with me today. I enjoyed your presence, and I'll figure out who these 8 spirit guides are later. There's a black and white one out, and I don't know how to feel about that. So anyways, until next time, peace out, Brussels sprouts.